Caitlin Clark, right?
Yeah.
So the other day I saw stats. Rob, can you pull this up? The NCAA championships for women's got more viewership than the NCAA championship for men. Caitlin Clark. Rob, can you pull up the foul on Caitlin Clark and what's happened with the frenzy?
Picture this, a packed arena, the crowd on their feet, and Caitlin Clark sinking shot after shot. Now imagine the WNBA watching from the sidelines, some cheering, others fuming. What's causing this split reaction? Let's get into it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
And look at her.
And big time content as the officials are going to take a look at what just transpired.
A WNBA storm was on the horizon as the confetti had just cleared. Have you ever wanted to know what happens when a newcomer makes a bold move to surpass the experienced members before they even join? As a result of Clark's moment, the league's reaction may surprise you. In addition to lighting up the scoreboard, Caitlin Clark's record-breaking performance ignited a fury within the WNBA. Officials and players alike were quick to offer sincere compliments, but some went into what seemed like a tantrum fit. The entire league is abuzz because Clark inadvertently walked on a hornet's nest.
The whole NBA reacts to it, and yesterday on First Take, there was this lady on First Take yesterday upset with the fact that Stephen A. Smith hasn't been talking about WNBA enough for the last few years.
Now we can dissect it. Some WNBA players, like Aja Wilson and Nafisa Collier, have shown their support by sending flowers to Clark. The significance of this remarkable accomplishment for women's basketball is the main topic of their celebration. Suddenly, though, there seems to be an undercurrent of jealousy or even dread among certain league members. You may be asking, what has these experts so worked up? Well, setting a new record isn't the only goal here. Clark is a revolutionary, not merely an excellent player. This player is attracting an audience to women's collegiate basketball that is comparable to that of the National Football League. Such celebrity influence has the potential to transform an entire sport. The truly intriguing part begins now. A few prominent WNBA players are behaving as though Clark's success poses a danger to their league. Even before she takes the floor of a WNBA court, they appear to be anxious that she may surpass them. Some have argued that WNBA play is very different from college, and that collegiate success does not necessarily translate to the pros. However, the point is that this goes beyond just basketball prowess. Clark has an additional contribution to make. Thousands of fans have taken notice of her electrifying play on the court. And let's face it, anybody can benefit from more people watching women's basketball, can they?
Hey, I'm going to let you guys in on a dirty little secret. This company, this corporation called the WNBA, is not profitable. By their daddy, the NBA. The NBA generates $10 billion a year.
Thus, why are there varying opinions? Oh, it's not easy. First, there's the veteran group that has been battling for years for WNBA stardom. They have persevered through the poor remuneration and absence of publicity. This college student is suddenly becoming a celebrity. I can understand why some people might feel a bit queasy. On the other hand, Clark's achievements are bringing more attention to women's basketball than ever before. Not only is she shattering records, but she is also destroying barriers. Her level of visibility in the sport has the potential to revolutionize the WNBA as well. An increase in viewers might lead to more sponsors, larger contracts, and perhaps the notoriety these players have been striving for. Not to mention that Clark is still a college student. When she does join the WNBA, she might be a huge asset to the league. Potential more fans, greater ticket sales, and perhaps even more primetime TV slots are what we're talking about. All women's basketball could benefit from an impact like that.
Nobody watches WNBA. I challenge any one of you to name 5 players who play in the WNBA. Chick, that's whatever she is, she puts the ball in the hole. But don't get it twisted. Nobody cares about the WNBA.
An unexpected voice enters the fray as the argument continues. Has the reaction of a business magnate to a basketball drama ever piqued your interest? No one anticipated the unexpected manner in which Patrick Bet-David would interpret Clark's record-breaking performance. Not many sports commentators can be described as Patrick Bet-David. He started Valuetainment, a media company focused on business and success, and became a millionaire on his own. Then why is he so enthralled by a collegiate basketball game? game. As it turns out, Bet David notices more than only Caitlin Clark's basketball skills. When Bet David gets angry, he doesn't hold back. He thinks the WNBA blew a huge chance and is now bringing it to light. Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent who has the potential to transform women's basketball in his opinion. She is more than just a fantastic player. Also, he wishes the WNBA will stop focusing on defending their turf and start embracing this possible game changer. Why is Bet David so convinced, you may ask? The fact that Clark is so good on the court is only part of it. She's the most famous female college basketball player right now, and that's what makes her so popular. According to Bet David, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for the WNBA to raise its profile and attract more fans. However, the most intriguing part begins at this point. Basketball isn't the only topic Bet David is touching on. He's also discussing business. Clark, in his view, could be a league and sponsor treasure trove. The WNBA, in his opinion, ought to be extending a red carpet to Clark rather than casting aspersions on her. Bet David is being really forthright. He thinks the WNBA needs to improve its game and stop being intimidated by Clark's potential and start recognizing and developing it. In his view, the league is desperately lacking the star power necessary to become a household name and compete with the major leagues. Meanwhile, did you hear? Attention is being drawn. Fans who have been dissatisfied with the WNBA's sluggish expansion and dearth of media coverage are finding common ground with Bet David's perspective. They think this could be a watershed moment for women's basketball because of Clark's achievement. But Clark isn't the only one involved. The larger point that Bet David is trying to make is that we respect athletic ability regardless of gender. He's suggesting that male and female athletes should not be treated differently, and that celebrity status should not be differentiated in any way. And neither is this mere rhetoric. By utilizing his celebrity to highlight Clark's accomplishments and demand a shift in the promotion and funding of women's sports, Bet David is showing that he means what he says. Recognizing and appreciating talent in all its forms is an issue he is bringing up in discussions about fairness in sports. Now listen up, Bet David's voice matters. He is more than simply an anonymous internet ranter. As a businessman, he has a knack for seeing possibilities and making a killing off of them. Businesses take note when he speaks highly of Clark and women's basketball, citing the promise he sees in both. It's not just Bet David who's hot under the collar. Now it's about more than simply a single game or person. In women's basketball, we may be witnessing a paradigm change. What follows is an important question. Are you prepared? Take a step back and examine the broader view for a moment. The record-setting feat by Caitlin Clark is monumental for the sport of women's basketball. It goes beyond being a personal triumph. This is a moment of monumental proportions, capable of altering the course of the entire sport. Contemplate it. Clark is shattering more than simply records. She is shattering barriers. Her success is igniting an unprecedented level of interest in women's basketball, which is making news headlines and illuminating social media. Everyone is curious about what might be waiting on the other side now that she has unlocked a door. So what does the future hold for Clark? At the moment, her chances of being selected in the WNBA draft are looking fairly good. Teams are likely already plotting their moves to capture her. Her influence off the court is just as important as her on-court performance. We're discussing possible sponsorships, endorsement deals, and possibly her own shoe brand. Clark is becoming more than simply a player, she is a brand. And that level of celebrity influence, it might be the icing on the cake for the WNBA's championship run. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. There may be a sea change for all female athletes as a result of Clark's achievement. Not only for her, the potential is now becoming apparent to young girls who are watching at home. Their goals are loftier, and they are dreaming greater. Can this actually alter people's perceptions of women's sports? Okay then, I'll show you the figures. Fans of Clark's games are tuning in at NFL levels. Not only is that astounding, it's also revolutionary. It's evidence that women's sports can captivate audiences with same fervor as men's when given the opportunity. For sponsors and advertisers, this may be the turning point they've been anticipating. When there are more viewers, there is more revenue, and with more money comes greater resources, higher wages, and more chances for women in sports generally. This is about more than simply the money. Mutual regard is key. Acknowledgement is key. Giving women's sports the recognition they so deserve is at the heart of this. People are starting to take notice because because of what Clark has accomplished. It's shaking up long-held beliefs about the potential of women's basketball. The rippling impact should also be remembered. Fans of Clark's games are finding new sports stars as a result of their increased viewership. Her actions are like a welcoming hand, beckoning people to delve into the vast realm of women's basketball. For women's sports, this may be the turning point that finally brings them into the mainstream. Big sponsorship deals, sold-out venues, and primetime television opportunities all on the table. Such prominence might catapult the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, from an obscure league to a global powerhouse. But, and this is crucial, there is no assurance. The reaction of the league, the press, and the fans will determine the course of events going forward at this critical juncture. Will they seize this chance for personal development, or will prejudice and habit prevent them? Who knows where women's basketball will go from here? There may be a revolution in the sport as a result of Caitlin Clark's record-breaking game, the WNBA's conflicting reactions, and Patrick Bet-David's passionate analysis. How much of an impact will Clark have in the WNBA? Is this a chance for the league to increase its fan base and sponsor base? What kind of reactions can we expect from other female basketball players as we enter a new era? These questions aren't merely for experts to answer. We, the supporters, too, have an important part to play. You can make a difference in the future of women's basketball by watching games, going to them, and talking about them. Now it is our turn to take the lead. For what reasons do you want to be a part of the women's basketball narrative moving forward?